Hi everyone. Today we have Vipin with us. Vipin has been a mariner and he left sailing at the rank of second officer. He used to sail with gear bulk, and after that, leaving sailing, he did his chief mates. And during his chief mates, he also realized that he wants to transition. And then he did his GMAT and got a good score in GMAT. And then he applied to ISB, which is one of the best business schools in India. And after that, he completed his MBA, and now he's working with a government firm.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's an
Okay.
in-house consulting arm of the state government itself.
Okay. Yes. So
Yeah.
this is his background, and anything you would like to add apart from what I said?
Sachin, you have summed up it pretty well. I got in around 2011. That's when I did my
Okay.
cadetship, and
Okay.
after that, gave my second mates and got my
Yes.
license in 2004. Started sailing as third officer from 2014,
Okay.
and then around gave my GMAT in 2020. I did
Yes.
one contract, came back, and
Okay.
applied for ISB in 2021 and started my program in 2022. It was all pretty
Okay.
sequential.
Okay. But then going back to where we start, you joined Merchant Navy in 2011, cadetship, first of all. So, what gave you the perspective of joining Merchant Navy? Do you know someone who is from Merchant Navy, or it just happened?
Yeah, so we did have a relative, I had a relative who was working in Merchant Navy, so I had a brief idea of what kind of job is it, and how the things work in Merchant Navy. I had a bit
Yeah.
fair idea, and
Okay.
that's when he also guided me how to go about it, go for the IMU CET, and then I did my cadetship from ARI New Delhi,
Yeah.
and from ARI I was picked up by Gearbulk. So
Okay.
looking back, like most of us, the idea of traveling around the world and getting paid
Yeah.
for it,
Yeah.
that was the main calling actually. And
Okay.
also then, interacting with different people. It was all pretty exciting at that time.
Okay. So after having done your cadetship, so when did you realize that, you know, this is not something for me?
I wouldn't say it was sudden. I think I would say it was gradual, Leaving sailing wasn't. Also very easy. In fact, for the longest time, I had thought that I would sail for much longer. But over the time, I started feeling that while the sea teaches you a lot, there is much more beyond to think than just the execution part. You start asking yourself bigger questions. What's happening to the cargo when once we leave it at the port? How are the global supply chains functioning? How is the policy formulation? How is the regulation defining the trade around you? All these things, they start coming into mind. Start looking at the bigger picture. You start looking for the avenues on how to learn all those skills. And then also there was another factor which was personal. I was the only son in my family, so parents were getting old. I wanted to be a little closer to them. They were having health issues, and I think this is something that most of the seafarers around us will relate to as well.
That's really true. Especially at a young age of 17, 18, it's very difficult for us to get all this perspective at that age. We are only thinking about the money and the travel or the excitement of joining a uniform job. Later on, things start changing, your perspective builds in. How did your thought of doing an MBA came in picture?
So, how I wanted to look at the things was not just, the shipping aspect of it.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to learn all the aspects of business functions. It was not just the logistic part. I was
Yeah.
also interested in financing. I was
Yes.
also interested in the organization structure. Once I did my MBA, one of the subjects that I found very interesting was the organizational behavior. So I
Yeah.
was interested in all those things as well. So
Okay.
I did my research. How could I learn all those skills at well? And then probably after the college, I would be able to apply those skills in real corporate world as well. So those were some of the reasons I would say that probably I decided to go for an MBA. And also,
Okay.
once you're in MBA, and especially if you are in a college like ISB, it's not just the faculty, the peer class that you have is
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. To have that chance to, sit among the toppers in the fields, you have the IIT
Yeah.
toppers, international level
Yes.
athletes, and some top musicians and everyone. So it gives you real perspective. So that thought really, drove me to pursue MBA.
Okay, so preparing for GMAT, were you very strongly inclined towards ISP, or you had thought about other colleges as well? Or I know you said that you wanted to live near to your parents, so you only considered doing an MBA in India, or outside India was also an option?
So when I started with my GMAT, then probably I had few other options in my mind as well. I looked at a couple of programs abroad as well, but eventually once I gave my GMAT and then I started on looking at the applications as well, then I started to narrow down my reasons actually that why did I want to
Okay.
move ashore. So being in India was one of the options, one of the factors that I
Yeah.
thought that I would take into account. And then that 1 year program at ISB is actually a very good idea because the whole everything is compressed into a whole 1 year. It's not that it's not a 2 year program. The rankings of ISB
Yeah.
and then also the placements, the companies that they come over there. I did my research and then I wanted to keep my options limited so that I can have a very focused application because all these colleges they will have a different application process, especially colleges abroad.
Correct.
Colleges in Europe have a totally different process.
Yeah.
Colleges in US they have a totally different process. So I wanted to narrow down my options and have a very focused application process so that I should be able to do everything in the first attempt. So that's how I focused just on ISP.
Okay.
Luckily
Okay.
enough, I was able to get through.
Let's say I am on board a ship and this thought of doing an MBA comes to my mind. What I think is the best would be that when this thought comes in your mind, you start refreshing yourself, and then once you start refreshing your skills of math and other general ability, and you start preparing for it while you are on board, and then once you are ashore, you do a very good crash course of 2 to 3 months, which a lot of good academies do, and you do that, and then you go for a GMAT. So, what would be a good approach for someone who wants to give a GMAT while they are on board or while they have moved ashore?
Right. You did really need to plan it very well, right?
Yeah.
I would say 3 months would be good enough if you do about 3, 4 hours every day. If you do 3 hours a day, I think 3 months are more than enough because
Yeah.
we have done our second mates. We are pretty much familiar with the maths and everything. We have not lost touch of it. We study
Yeah.
navigation, stability, and everything. Quants is, perhaps the easier part. The English part is probably, or the verbal part is a little difficult. That's where you need real practice. So you could start on board. How you could start on board is that there are a couple of official GMAT, publications that are published
Yeah.
by GMAT. So get those on board, start doing those, and keep solving them again and again while you're on board. And by the time you are off the ship, you do have a good foundation in the studies, and then probably you can go for those one of those coachings for probably a couple of months, and that should be good enough. I mean, the coachings will help you in the way that there are certain tricks and
Yeah.
there are certain methods to solve the problems easier. So those coaching class would help you with that. And plus your onboard study will act as a foundation. I think you will be in a pretty good shape for GMAT.
Okay. Do you have any recommendations or any classes which you took which helped you in this?
Yeah, so it's actually pretty interesting that my coaching class I chose Jambori. There is an institute in it's
Yes.
actually all over India.
Yeah.
Gurgaon was very close to me, so I decided to go there. Right when my first class was scheduled on the Sunday, the COVID lockdown hit.
Okay.
So our
Okay.
classes were shifted to online, and I must say that they managed it very well. The whole 2, 3 months were good with them and I think it really helped. So I would definitely recommend if you have time, then definitely you can go for these coaching, one of those coaching institutes. Jambori in my case, it was great.
So while after you do your preparation, the preparation part is separate, but the application part also involves a lot of things. You have to answer a lot of questions which you are also not aware of how to answer. So do these classes even prepare you for answering of your essay? Because the essay would be very different for a different college. Why do you want to do an MBA at this stage of a career? And many set of different questions. So do they help you to prepare for this as well?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go on
Yeah.
LinkedIn today, there are a lot of consultants who are helping with these application processes.
Yes.
But my advice would be to keep the GMAT and the application process really
Yeah.
separate.
Correct.
While you are
Yes.
preparing
Yes.
for the GMAT, don't look into applications because
Yeah.
it's a whole big juggernaut in itself.
Yeah.
So if you get into applications, you won't be able to focus on the GMAT. So get done with your GMAT first, and then get
Yeah.
into the applications, and then also narrow down your options to as minimum as possible so that you are not doing multiple applications simultaneously. So for the applications also, there are a lot of consultants, good consultants, Experts Global.
Okay.
I took their help in resume, and there
Okay.
are a few friends of mine as well who took their help, and they are pretty good. There are a few others
Okay.
as well. If you go on LinkedIn, I am pretty sure you'll find many.
Yeah, yeah. So now, if someone comes ashore, they gave their GMAT. As a mariner, how challenging would it be, and what would be a right approach to start thinking about this transition of giving a GMAT?
Yeah, so first I would say you need to be absolutely clear in your mind that why you are deciding to move ashore. That would
Yeah,
really help you on deciding with the timing, because sometimes it may happen that you have quit too early, you are leaving sailing too early. It totally depends on your priorities. I would say no
yeah,
time is the right time and
yeah,
every time is the right
yeah.
time. So whatever time is suiting with your
Yes,
priority and your goals,
yes,
go with that. In my class in Funnily at ISB, there was a very experienced chief engineer,
yeah.
who has already sailed for, I think 10, 12 years as a chief engineer only, and had been sailing for
Okay,
more than 20 years. And then there
okay,
was also a guy who had, done his cadetship on board and then didn't sail afterward. So, I
okay.
mean, whatever time suits your priorities could be a good time.
How was the entire journey with IS? Because you have all the brilliant minds with you, coming from different sectors, but there might be a insecurity, that these are people who are toppers of their field, who are the best in their field. How do I compete with them? So, did this insecurity come into you ever?
Definitely, in beginning because you're surrounded by all these people around you, but then
Yeah,
you gradually start to understand that the MBA is not just about, I also had that mindset before going into the college that it will
yeah,
be pretty much a lot of finance and consulting, that's it. But the
yeah,
MBA is not just that. When you go over
yeah,
there, there's so much other subjects to learn from. It's
yeah,
not an academic competition between you and those people. You actually learn
yeah,
from your study groups.
yes,
So, I mean, you definitely will feel that in beginning, I would say, but gradually when you, move along with your course, you will see that it's not just spreadsheets, it's
yes,
not just academics, and
yes,
there's a lot of design thinking, operational thinking involved to it. Being in shipping, I would say that sometimes we really underestimate ourselves.
yes,
We already have done most challenging tasks, there ever could be, I would say.
yeah,
So sometimes we do short sell ourselves, but we really don't
yes,
need to do that because we have done most of the, most tough jobs around the world, and and with different kinds of people. It's not like that the same crew was there, and every time crew was different, and you have to adapt
yeah,
with everything. You have to evolve, and you have to adjust your
correct,
actions according to the prevailing circumstances. So you have to adapt, and we have already
yeah,
done that. Just it's a whole new sea, and we are doing it
yeah,
here. So I mean, it's not that difficult to, and I
yeah.
think most seafarers do well in their MBA program.
And that's what I feel. You get a network for the lifetime, I think. So I think that is a very good way of looking into it, because being at ship, I don't think you can get access to such brilliant minds at one place.
One of my advice as well,
Yes,
for seafarers who would be going, who are, thinking to pursue the MBA,
yeah,
that we should not underestimate the power of networking, especially in the corporate
yes.
setup. It helps you a lot to grow and learn from your peers. So networking is very important, actually.
Did this MBA help you to change your industry, and how difficult at this point of time is it to change the industry with the help of an MBA and your previous experience, especially the maritime experience you bring?
So right now, actually, it's not that difficult right now because shipping is also evolving.
Yeah,
Right now I'm working in the government advisory right now, but
yeah,
it's not the only option. I would also love to go back to shipping and contribute there as well because the
yeah,
shipping in itself is evolving. A lot of automation, a lot of ESG compliance is coming in, and a lot
yeah,
of digital interventions happening. So
yeah,
there's really exciting stuff happening in the shipping sector as well. So probably, after an MBA, you could go there as well. And then also there are also there's an option of working in corporate. So, I mean, the MBA would definitely help you in that industry switch, and it helps you to make that pivot, to come
yeah,
ashore, and it makes you ready as well for ashore because
yeah,
when you directly move from ashore, you have
yeah,
limited idea and you have limited understanding of the corporate functions and other business
yeah,
aspects as well. So the MBA will prepare you for that world as well. And the corporate job is not the only option. A lot of
yeah,
my friends from ISB, they have become entrepreneurs, and
yeah.
they are doing some other good stuff as well.
Yeah. So continuing on that, let's say, as you said, you can get into shipping as well. But we also know that shipping right away does not recognize a MBA. In shipping, a lot of focus is always given on what rank you come with. Will MBA actually help for junior officers, especially, to rise higher in the maritime sector?
Right. What you mentioned has definitely been the traditional way, how people have been shifting for ashore. the people getting into higher ranks and getting into
Yeah.
the technical roles. But that's what I
Yes.
mentioned that shipping right now is making that pivot from technical to more digital focus right now.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
probably the roles which were not there earlier in the market are opening up. Right now, there's
Yeah.
a lot of focus on customer relations, customer success.
Yes.
So, I mean, there are
Yeah.
a lot of other avenues opening right now, and
Correct.
it is an upcoming market. So, right now, there are definitely opportunities. Yeah, you're right in the sense that earlier there were not these kind of opportunities, and I would say there were a few, but that awareness was not there among the junior officers probably, or there was no that much broadcasting of those offers. Currently, that is happening much more, and I am pretty sure that in the coming years, the much more different kind of roles would open up in these fields and shipping also.
Okay. So that's also what I think, that with the industry changing, it might happen that new everyday new roles will come in, and for those new roles, new people will be required. And especially, I think the benefit what the junior officers would have is their career horizon would be higher than someone who's coming at a senior level. This is my thoughts. I don't think.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So this is what I think, because you have much more years to with you to contribute to the organization, and you have at the junior officer level, you have the mindset to change as well. I think
Yeah.
that at senior level you might become rigid sometime, and it will be a little difficult for you to mold to within the corporate structure. So I think if anyone who wants to transition ashore at a junior officer level, what should they really focus on while they are on board? Like, should they build up on their communication or other analytical skills, or should they be doing some other courses parallelly while they are on board? Doesn't matter whether they want to transition ashore or not right away, but if they decide to do this in any time in the future, their hard work done before would help.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, and starting early would not just help you prepare for MBA. It would expand your the horizons of your thinking as well.
Yes.
Because you can start reading about finance. How
Yes.
does corporate finance work? How is finance? What is VC funding, and how those things work? It will not just help you in MBA, but it will give you a perspective as well. Like how do
Yes.
these new startups that are coming up, how are they coming up, and how those fundings are going on, why do companies go for
Yes.
IPOs, and even if you are thinking about investing in financial markets, there it might help you as well. Similarly, in the operational, you do learn about the operational processes and through different companies. It will give you those ideas. You can read about Six Sigma and all those techniques which are applied in the
Yes.
operational process throughout the world.
Yes.
Some of those things you can pick up and apply in your day-to-day work as in shipping as well. So, I mean, you should definitely start early, you could start reading about finance, corporate finances, definitely that would help you in the longer term, and
Okay.
operations as well. These things will help you and organizations. And one of the great ways that I would say a mariner can learn about all these things on board is by reading case studies.
Okay.
In MBA, we do a lot of case studies. And they are available online as well. There's Harvard Business Review and there are many other publications who publish these case studies. So when you're on board, and these are very interesting as well. I used to love case studies in my MBA. They will be about all these companies around the world, and you would read how they went into crisis, different type of crisis. Sometimes there was an organization crisis, sometimes there was a financial thing, and how they recovered from it, what kind of strategies is applied. So reading case studies will definitely help you, and doing some study on finance also.
Okay, so let's get back to your ISP journey. I think 1 year is very compact, so it might be very difficult because every few weeks you are getting a new course and you have the deadlines for previous assignments as well, and a lot of things are going simultaneously. So, how was your journey in general? Like, how does the 1 year at ISB look like?
So yeah, as I said earlier, we had already done almost most of the toughest jobs.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
mean, getting ready for departure after 1 hour of completion of cargo, that was much
yeah,
more. I would say
yes,
that was much more tighter deadline than finishing a project in MBA. I would definitely. So
yeah,
so yeah,
okay,
I mean, and that's I'd say we have done most of the most hard work we have already done.
yeah,
It's just that we have to apply those skills, and those problem solving skills, those pressure handling skills in a
yes,
different avenue right now.
yeah,
It's not not like that you have to develop those skills. We already have
Yeah.
those developed in ourselves. It's just that we have to put them to use in a different scenario. I mean, starting the beginning, you might feel that you are just a little behind than other people, but as the program goes on, you would realize that okay, okay, I'm not less than anyone, and that's when you pick yourself up. I will be happy to say that most of the seafarers in my program, we had pretty good grades.
Okay. That's lovely. So then also in such colleges there are a lot of culture festivals happening. So after a long time, because at in maritime academies you don't get such opportunities. So did you make use of such events, or like did this help you in bringing up your personality move further?
Even before going into ISB, since
Okay.
we got our results in November for the first round, and the program was to start in April. So we had a lot of pre-meetups as well,
Okay.
and they were happening in all around the country. Actually, there were few meetups in Delhi, there were few meetups in Mumbai. So that gave us a chance to already get familiar with our peer groups, some of our peer groups. And one of my closest friends right now is the guy who I met on my first pre-ISB meetup also. So, I
Okay.
mean, those things will really help you. And during the MBA program, as I told you, it's not that you are doing it individually. It's a lot of a peer learning and peer contribution and a lot of
Yeah.
study group studies happening, projects happening. So, I mean, it will not just help you get through the program, but you build those relationships that last, after the program as well, and they'll help you throughout your life. I mean, networking is a very important aspect through the MBA.
Okay, that's good to hear. So after your MBA starts completing, then comes the biggest task of finding a new job, and especially someone who is a mariner, for them it is the time to decide whether I want to go in the maritime industry or I want to start looking into other industries. Yeah. So how was your placement journey like? How stressful it was? Because I can wonder, there are so many rounds going on, so many companies are coming in, and everyone is running around everywhere. And I know that ISB has a very structured way of doing these placement rounds. How challenging these days were of the placement rounds for you?
So I would definitely put the stress of the whole program on one side and the stress of
Yeah.
placement on the other side. I would definitely do that. Those
Okay.
2 weeks at campus, they were the most stressful, I would say. For not just for me, for everyone, I would say. There's a lot less networking at that time. People are
Okay.
confined to themselves, studying within groups and everything. But it you learn a lot, Again, as I said on shipping, when working on ships also, we are doing multiple things together, and we
Yeah.
have to manage, you are preparing for departure, you have to make sure so many things, cranes are secured properly, the station is secured properly, the people are ready on time. There are a lot
Yeah.
of things. Similarly, that time also you'll be juggling through things. The first round is happening for one job, then you will be in the evening, then you'll be appearing for the second round of another. So there are a lot of things happening. As I said, believe in ourselves. I mean, we have done most hard jobs around the world. I mean, it's not hard. You need to put your focus onto it.
Okay. So now you got placed from ISB itself. So what exactly does your organization do? What your role is in the organization? How your seafaring background is helping you in this?
So I got placed as a consultant with the state government here,
Yeah.
and I am working with the Department of Industries and Department of Investment Promotion here. What we do is that we do investment promotion of the state. We attract industrial setups in the state, and we also do policy formulation and regulation also. So all those things we do at Investment Job here. Talking about the experience that I got into shipping, I would definitely say that during the port calls, you are managing so many people. You are working with the port officials, you are working with stevedores, you are managing your own crew, and then the things are going on your own ship as well. There must be some other tasks going on. So all those multitasking skills, it helps me here a lot as well. Juggling through multiple projects are going on here also. It's like that one EODB is ease of doing business project is going on, then there is another project going on. So it has really helped. That multitasking ability that we hone from the our experience in shipping helps here. And also, like, the multicultural exposure that we have on board is something that helps a lot as well. Here also we have those high pressure meetings, those time bound projects. We have those things here as well. So all those skills that we learn from the ship, do help us a lot here.
It's really nice to know that there is not just maritime industry which you can look into. There are so many different industries you can get into if you take the right steps. Do you think it is like, because I strongly believe that there is no age to do an industry change, whether you are 25, you are 30, 35, or even 40. Do you think there is a age limit to changing your industry, especially with shipping comparison? You can say, like, if a second officer wants to change his industry, it's okay. Third officer wants to change his industry, it's okay. But if a chief officer or a master mariner wants to change, it's not that recommended. Is it really that difficult, or would you say that it is not, you can do it whenever you want?
Yeah, so I mean, I would definitely say that, it's not that it's age bound or something like that, but
Yes.
you should be very clear with your goals, and the reasons why you are stepping away and what are your priorities right now. And also, you should be aware of the outcomes as well, I mean, you should find some mentors and you should know how people, what kind of roles people get after these colleges and people from similar background, if somebody, because it's not like that only you will find second officers or new second engineer, third engineers probably coming here. I
Yeah.
have seen multiple masters
Yeah.
and, people, chief engineer level people doing it and getting good jobs. And actually, the chief engineer who was with me and he was with almost more than 20 years of sailing experience.
Yes.
He got into a great role in consulting, and it was marketing. Can you imagine? Matlab, he got into a marketing role and being as a chief engineer after so much of experience, throughout that his year in ISB, he really focused on all those aspects that he wanted to get into
Okay.
marketing. He made sure that he was studying marketing electives. He made sure that he was doing those kind of projects. He was doing those kind of case competitions and all. So all those things when he, put into his resume, it really showed and he got into all those roles as well. So there is definitely no, industry that bound or age bound. It
Yeah.
totally depends on what reasons do you have of
Yes.
moving ashore and what priorities and what expectations do you have. It's really important to manage those expectations as well because we all know that our seafarer, is a very high paying job. So
Yeah.
probably what you would be getting as a second officer on a chemical tanker. I'm not sure that if you come to ashore and do
Yeah.
an MBA and you
Yeah.
make that switch, you will get the same shore as
Yeah.
well. So I mean, you need to manage your expectations. That's why
Yes.
you need to be very clear on your reasons and priorities why you're moving ashore.
Yes. Well, but having said that, it is also very strange that people always calculate that, I am making, let's say, as a second engineer on chemical tank, I am making X amount. So they'll multiply that amount with 12 months, but they are not sailing for 12 months. They are only sailing for 6 months, right? And when you do the eventual comparisons, and if you, put 3, 4 years or even 5 years down the line, you will get almost close to that what you were getting on board. The difference would be what you were getting in 6 months you'll get in 12 months. And but if you are putting in the right effort and hard work, I'm sure there are jobs which will pay you higher, but then you have to prove yourself that way, because ashore it is a pyramid. It is not like a pipeline in the shipping that anyone who enters, they will come out and they will get the same amount of money. The potential is not that way. In
Yeah.
ashore it is very pyramidical. At the bottom there are many people. As you climb up, the people start to reduce, and you have to show your what you bring to the table.
I mean, the that's why I said that you need to manage your short-term expectations right out of
Yes.
MBA. And though
Yes.
in the
Yes.
long term the value is immense, but
Yes.
you need to maybe
Yes.
manage the short-term expectation.
Yes.
But in the long
Yes.
term, its value is immense.
Yes.
If you move rightly through your career, you will definitely end up on those good roles, making those good decisions, and doing our work in shipping again. It's very impactful. It's very
Yeah.
underrated though. But moving ashore is it's totally different.
Yeah. So another thing that, which, let's say, a lot of people don't do right is their financial planning when they are on board. When they become a second mate or a third mate, they tend to build up a lot of liabilities. I have also done those mistakes. So what would be your recommendations to someone who has just got promoted to a third officer and he is not, whether he's sure or not sure, what, in terms of, we are not financial advisors, we can just tell from our mistakes, because let's say if you had made the right financial decisions, then only you were able to, leave shipping at the time you decided and do a MBA which is worth, 40 lakhs fees. So, what would be your recommendations in terms of financial planning for someone like a junior officer who just starts their career?
Actually, it was completely reverse. I was
Okay.
very bad at managing my finances. I was very bad at
Okay.
managing my finance. That's why I recommended, when you are on
Yeah.
board, because
Yeah.
our exposure in terms of other aspects of business and corporate is very limited. So we do
Yeah.
need to, keep updating ourselves with those financial and other things, reading about finance, operations, and all those things. So one of the mistakes that I would say that young seafarers should avoid is probably being confining their horizon just to shipping when they are on board. Read about finances, read out different business case studies and all those examples. Read about different startups, how did they come into region, what were the ideas behind those startups. So you should
Yeah.
definitely keep on honing those skills and keep on expanding your those horizons when you're on board, and it will definitely help you in having a broader perspective, and it will help you in avoiding those financial mistakes that we do early
Yeah.
on, because we confine our knowledge just to shipping when we are very young on board, and that's how probably we don't see the long term impact of having good financial management.
Why an MBA and why not a specialized degree? Like, there are many other courses abroad as well, which do specialization in a special subject. So, how would a MBA be impactful for mariners? Like, we have already answered many of the points previously, but someone who is looking into deciding whether should I do an MBA or I should do a Masters of Science, these are two entirely different courses, and the outcomes of these would be very different. How does one decide this? Because for me, I realize that in the future, if given an opportunity, I want to be able to diversify into other industries as well, and that is where I thought MBA would be very helpful for me. Are there any tips which you can give to help the seafarers make a better decision?
So, I mean, the first would be the definitely that what is your interest? Like, what are your long-term interests? Do you want to be, do you want to keep your options open throughout your future? What do you want to learn? And also, what do you want to learn actually? It may so happen that, you have a very specific interest in learning about international logistics. While MBA will touch upon it, but it may not dive that deeper into it. But
Yeah.
doing a specialization course will give you a very, very deep insight into that. Like I knew that I wanted to stay back in India after my, masters. So in
Yeah.
India, you will not have those specialized masters specially. So if you
Yeah.
want to, move abroad, then you have both the options, I would say. But if you are looking to probably stay back in India after your masters, then I mean, you have very limited options in those
Yes.
specializations, and probably MBA could be a better option.
How does one find their interest of learning? Because a lot of seafarers might be very unhappy with the job and they don't exactly know this is my interest. So how can one find their interest?
Yeah, definitely. So that, as I said earlier, you need to keep expanding it. You need to keep reading about stuff.
Yeah.
So, one of the mistakes that I also did and a lot of seafarers that do when they are young into their career on board ships, that they are too engrossed into shipping at that time, and we don't look beyond shipping at all. So probably, when you're on board, engaging yourself in, learning about other things that are happening around the
Yeah.
world, learning about new businesses, how to, policy, the different trade policies and everything. So you should keep updating yourself with all those things. I mean, that would be,
Then I think then only the more you try to understand and
yeah,
learn about different aspects, then only you can think, okay, this is interesting to me now.
absolutely.
I think that then only you will be able to better
The more you
understand.
read, the more, you'll know about things, and you will have more options probably to choose from
Yeah.
also.
Yeah. Correct. Correct. So I'm sure, like many people would be contacting you over LinkedIn every few other days that I want to transition ashore, help me with this. What do you think the importance of LinkedIn for seafarers who are on board? How can they use LinkedIn to enhance their presence ashore or get connected to the right people?
Yes. The LinkedIn gives you a platform where you can look for people from all sort of backgrounds. So, I mean, a simple merchant navy ISB prompt will
Yeah.
give you all the people who come from merchant navy and who have gone to ISB, and
Yeah.
it will help you a lot. And you can, follow the people's career trajectories. You can see that, how many years they worked on the ship, what were they working as, and then which roles did they get into, which programs they did, which certification courses they did, I know what kind of posts they are doing generally, posts they are posting on their feed. So LinkedIn is a great tool. I mean, it can be, I would say, and now these days with Wi-Fi being available 24/7 on the ships, I mean, it could be utilized for great outcomes, I would say.
Yeah, because I believe my thought is that LinkedIn is a very good platform if you start using it in the right direction. Because everyone, like whenever I was researching about a college, I would just type in this college, and in the prompt I'll put second officer and or third officer or whatever. So it will come that okay, some second officer, third officer who was part of this college. That search will come and I'll send them requests, and later on I'll ask all my doubts to them. So I think this is a very good platform provided they use it right.
And you need to be, you need to show that professionalism. But also, one thing I noticed about the merchant navy community on LinkedIn, the
Yeah,
people are very helpful. I mean, the
yeah, yeah,
camaraderie is really great.
yes,
The people I
yeah,
reached out to, all of the people I
yeah,
reached out to,
yeah,
people from
yes,
ISB, the future, the previous alums from ISB, all of them, they
yeah,
were really helpful. And I try to just do the same, because
yeah,
the people I reached out to, they were really helpful to me. And not
yeah,
just through getting to ISB, but during my course, during my programs, when I felt a little overwhelmed, I would talk to them.
yeah,
Oh, okay, yeah, it's going beyond my control. How did you manage, and
yeah.
all those things. So I mean, and especially the machinery community on LinkedIn is very helpful, and I would say that you could make great use of it.
Yes, because that is what I felt whenever I was asking any senior who has done their transition. They were always helpful enough. Even I found you from LinkedIn when I was doing
Yeah,
my
yeah.
research for ISP. Yeah,
Mhm.
and you were very kind enough to answer my all the queries over a call. So thank you for that. And even what I feel is everyone who I asked questions will not reply instantly. Don't expect a reply instantly
Yeah,
because they are
absolutely. Uh-huh.
busy with their lives. We seafarers think, I have sent a message, I should get a reply as soon as I do. But that is
Mhm.
not the case. This is not Facebook. Many people don't even open their LinkedIn for one month. But the day they open, they might give you a reply. And don't just focus on one person when you're asking a question. Put that question out to multiple people because there are going to be many people who have done that, and it will be a very right way of approaching things. And also, like, I also understand that so many people get in touch with you regarding their queries for different kind of questions. Maybe it could be transition or doing an MBA. Especially the seafarers who are coming to you, what do you think is the biggest challenge in communicating their query? Is the way of putting out their query to you? Do you think something can be improved when they are asking a question to another fellow ex seafarer or who has done the transition? Like a better way of putting things out so that it is clear and someone doesn't have to put in a lot of hours to answer your question to understand what you're asking.
Narrowing down your specifics, narrowing down your story, that is very important. So probably
Yeah,
a few things that you could do, before reaching out to someone would be narrowing down your reasons. Why do you want to do
yeah,
an MBA? What are your
yeah,
priorities right after MBA and further 5 years after MBA? So probably you could, start working on those first, because the person you are reaching out, he will be probably able to answer better, understanding those priorities. So I mean, sometimes the only thing that I probably have to face, I cannot understand is the priority, because people would say that I want to move ashore, but they still they won't have a great the proper reason back to it, that why do they want to
yeah,
move ashore. So I will say ki before reaching out to someone, probably you could narrow down your priorities and your expectations. Narrow
yeah,
those down, then you probably reach out to someone. Okay, see, now this is why I'm wanting to move ashore right now. These are the things that I want to do right now, and these are the things that I expect. So I mean,
yeah.
what all of it can I achieve, from which program can I achieve it. So all those things, narrowing down to specifics, it will help the person you are reaching out to and yourself as well.
Yeah, I think that is very important. First, you have to self introspect
Yeah.
yourself that, I want it might not be necessary that you want to do a education. Some people will be that no, I don't want to study further. I've done a lot of studying. I've done my maths or I've done my second maths. That's all I want to study throughout my life. So first, I think it is very important for you to sit down in a place, write
Yes.
down everything.
Yes.
What are the problems you are facing with merchant navy,
Mm-hmm.
and will those problems go if you come ashore? It might happen that whatever problems you are listing, these problems will be ashore as well, and at a lesser money if you're not doing a good education. So first you have to sit down, introspect, and get to know that, whether moving ashore is right for me or not.
It may so happen that, if you, do self-introspection and you list all your reasons down, that you might come to a conclusion that you don't need an MBA.
Yeah.
Maybe, you can spend a few more years in shipping and then probably you can move ashore on a technical role. So, I mean, so narrow self-introspection there is very important. And, I mean, talking about, the career ashore, I mean, if you take the right steps, if you keep on upscaling yourself, that is very important. The MBA is not the, final thing that if you do an
Yeah.
MBA and then your career sets up. It's not like that. It helps you make the transition. It helps you pivot to ashore, but it's not the final thing. Once you have done your MBA, you need to continuously upskill yourself. You need to learn about new things. You need to make those switches, career switches at right times for those right hikes. So when you move ashore, you need to continue upskilling yourself. It won't happen that you've done your MBA and you don't need to do anything else. It won't happen like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
probably that's why I would say that you need to write probably list down your expectations and what you might need to do after moving ashore. That will give you a better idea. It may so happen definitely that MBA might not be the right idea. You can probably do. There are other avenues right now coming up also that you can
Yeah.
choose for moving ashore.
I don't know who said this, that MBA should have an expiry date. You did a course 5 years back, and after that, you expect that person to continue building upon that. It is not correct. You should be, as you correctly said, you have to keep upskilling yourself and reinventing yourself after a few years to be relevant. I think that is
Absolutely.
very
The
important.
competition ashore is cutthroat.
Yeah.
You definitely need to continue, upskilling yourself.
Yeah. Okay. And okay. So I know you are from ISB. For you, ISB would be the best college. But if someone is looking for other colleges as well, ISB, IM, ABC, then you can put XLRI, SPJN, all these colleges. But are there any other colleges which you think could be good enough for someone to apply to or start thinking of it? And what exams? Because not all colleges take GMAT. Other colleges require you to give CAT as well for it.
So then ISB, as you rightly mentioned, IM, ABC, they are the top ones. And there are other IMs also coming up. I have a couple of friends from shipping who had done their MBAs from IM Lucknow. And they are doing pretty good in their career right now. So there are few of these IMs also coming up. So I would not say that it is the only IM ABC are the only IMs that you can look after. You can definitely look into these programs. IM
Okay.
Lucknow, then there is a supply chain program at IM Udaipur that
Yeah.
has been going on for a few years and it has good results. It shows good results also. So there are I am Udaipur, I am Lucknow. These are also you can look into these colleges. But I would definitely say that you. I mean, ASB, IM, ABC. They should be the gold standard for you. If you are really serious about moving ashore, I mean, your whole focus should be these four colleges in India, not
Okay.
anything beyond that.
Okay.
I
And
mean,
also,
I would like you to restrict your horizon to these four. Probably,
okay.
if you prepare for these four, then you are prepared for any college. Trust me. If you prepare for these
Okay.
four, then probably even if you don't get into, you can probably apply to other IMs and other colleges.
Mhm.
But you will be prepared because you have prepared for the top four. So I mean,
Okay.
IM, ABC, and ISB, they have to be your top priorities if you want
Okay.
to do an MBA from India.
Okay. And the other question which also comes in is, everyone gets aback with, is the fees of these colleges. It is not very, like, it's 30 to 40 lakhs is the general average of any courses with the accommodation included. So many people, they say that it is very expensive. I should not be doing this. But how do you counter these questions?
So I mean, out of all the reasons that you are introspecting whether to do an
Yeah.
MBA or not to do an MBA, the
Yeah.
concern about fees and expense should probably be the last one.
Yes.
I mean, it should be
Yes.
the last thing that you
Yes.
should be thinking about because
Yes.
if you focus rightly and if you navigate your program rightly and you have done the program in a proper way, the MBA program, I'm pretty sure all of the most of the people land good jobs. And it may
Yeah.
so happen that you didn't get placed in the campus placements, but by the time the program was over in my college, all of the people were placed and at nice
Yeah.
places. And always, it's not like that. The firm you get good, you got placed at from the college is the last firm. You will continue
Yeah.
upskilling. So, I
Yes.
mean, even if you are not getting the offer of your choice at college, get whatever you are getting. Go for that, and probably in the later stages, because the ISB name, the brand value is huge. So later in your stages in career, you could probably go for better roles as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, fees should be the last concern because you get good jobs, you get good placements, and also the knowledge that all the finance subjects that we learn, you learn to manage your finance much better in a much better way. So when you come ashore, and you have learned about all those things, you would see that okay, even if I'm earning 2 lakhs, and even if I'm paying my EMIs, you will, and if you manage your finances properly, I mean, you would end up saving and investing
Yeah.
nicely. It's not less actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that is what I think, that whenever people say that this is very expensive, I believe that that is not the right mindset to think
Yeah.
about doing a higher education. You should be thinking of the value which you are getting at the end of the day. For many people, even 15 lakhs for a course which is 1 year is expensive. I cannot counter them with, don't think about the fees. I'm sure you might have your own reasons of thinking this is expensive, but when you can spend so much money on a car when you are staying on board and you are not even driving the car, I think it is much convenient to for you to spend something on your education which will help you move ahead in your career. That
Yeah,
is,
yeah. The value it will bring is immense. It will not just
yes,
help you with the job. I mean, it will help you throughout your life as well. All
yeah,
those real life scenarios, it will help you
yes.
there as well.
And the biggest thing is the kind of people you get to be around, especially the bright minds you are around. That will change your thinking a lot. The way you speak, the way you carry yourself, and the overall outcome of your life will change if you surround yourself with these people. As there's a saying that you are the product of the five people around you. I think if you place yourself around such people, you will definitely go grow ahead in your life. Moving ahead, the biggest thing which I can see is that there is no age limit for changing an industry. You can always do an MBA, but right away, MBA might not always be the right thing for you. You have to self introspect first on thinking what you want from your career and whether MBA puts you, will give you that or not. And apart from that, there are two kinds of programs. There are 1 year MBA programs in India and there are 2 years programs in India. 2 year programs generally cater towards the younger generation who does not have a lot of experience and they are just out of college or have 2 3 years of work experience max. And coming from you, who would you recommend what course, especially in the maritime sector?
Yeah. So, I mean, for the 1 year programs, there is a certain work experience limit also. So, I mean, if somebody, and most of those colleges count that work experience from the day that you have started sailing as an officer. The
Okay.
cadetship years are probably not counted as work experience in those calculations. So, I
Okay.
mean, 1 year for 1 year program to be eligible for the 1 year program, you need to have certain years of experience under your belt. So, I mean, and for the 2 year program, you don't need any experience. So, probably the cadets who are but I would not recommend a cadet to move out, so early because, the experience in Merchant Navy is amazing. It really builds you up for the world. Probably,
Yeah.
as you said, that the people surrounding us. I mean, on board ships, we have the most talented people around us. It's just
Yeah.
the mindset and the environment is not such that the things are talked about. Most
Yeah.
most of the focus of the people on board is the ship and the voyage and the cargo right now. So probably those kind of conversations, of the finances of the startups are not helping, are not being done on board. Probably they could be done more on board, and probably some of the shipping companies they also can introduce these kind of some small courses that people can do on board
Yeah.
about finances, about different things happening around the world. So these things can be introduced on board, and people can, start having those conversations on board also.
Sorry to cut you, but let's say someone who is in Indian Navy or Army Air Force, when you see those officers, when they want to leave the military services, government always helps them with doing some additional courses or help them to come to a level before they quit. I think for us seafarers also there should be something that we should always be have certain relevant skills that we can transfer ashore, like other, like we have a lot of skills, I believe, which can be directly used ashore, but since they are not formally recognized with some certification, it is very difficult and challenging for us to explain that I have done crisis management when there was such an incident happened on board. It is very difficult for them to explain what is the repercussion of this situation. So I think if some way we can create certifications or something which can relate directly to our experience would be very helpful for us to transition smoother, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great way. Something like this could be done. Different shipping organizations should look into it. They could probably start introducing these kind of courses, which puts a certain certification label on our transferable skill. You're definitely right. There are some kind of operations which require, immense calmness and, those things on board, and we are not probably able to show them rightly in the resume. So I
Yeah.
mean, these things could be look into, and this could be a good idea for a new startup as well. Probably. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great idea. People should on board. There should be a continuous upskilling of people on board as well, not just
Yes.
in the terms of shipping, but in other
Yeah.
terms as well. Yeah, so probably
Yes.
the seafarers are sometimes bound to those shipping exposure only on board.
Yeah.
So that could be broadened, and it could be really helpful for people who may think of trying to move ashore later on in their careers.
And apart from that, having said everything what we have done, 2 years program, do you recommend? Because I won't recommend anyone doing a 2 years program,
Yeah.
especially who has done at least third officers or second officer rank experience. From the experience that you are coming in, I think a 1 year program is much suited for you, unless you feel you need to slow down things for yourself. But I'm sure all the seafarers are capable enough to handle the 1 year program.
Absolutely. I mean, you should not see it as the change to ashore. You should not see it as quitting. Probably, it is more a kind of evolving, building upon that you have already learned in shipping. And all those skills, they stay with you lifelong. In shipping, there's no academics. You're not learning a framework, where that you will
Yeah.
give an exam, you write down an exam, and you won't use in your life. The skills that we get, that we hone on board, they stay with us for lifetime. How do you make someone understand, you are doing a station, you are a fresh third officer, you are doing a departure station, tug line breaks, you
Yeah.
just have two people with you. How do you explain that situation to someone that, what kind of chaos is that when you are there? But, how do we handle that? And how do we make sure that, there is no injury to anyone, there is no loss of property or ship, or there any kind of damage to ship? So doing all those things, they stay with you lifelong, definitely.
Yes, I truly believe that. And that is where I think everyone should really introspect themselves and come to a result of what will work for me. And going ahead from that, so what do you think? You have already completed 3 years ashore after your MBA. What are your future plans after this?
So right now, what I'm working is, I find it very interesting, because
Yeah.
here right now, my work is twofold.
Yeah.
One part is increasing the industrial investment in the state, and the other part is the improving of the ease of doing business. You have to do policy
Yes.
formulation, you have to study the
Yes.
business policy, you have to study the employment policy, and you have to continuously upgrade them, suggest changes to them, and see what more could be done, which could bring long-term impact to the society. So,
Yes.
right now, what I'm doing in the government and public sector, I am enjoying it, and
Yes.
I further in my career, I'm looking forward to develop on this only, move further in government and consulting. Right now, working as a
Good.
consultant, probably move to higher levels, being a project director, or partner level, maybe someday moving to partner level as well. So right now,
Okay.
government and public sector consulting, I find it very interesting. You see the impact that you do, when you're facilitating a proper full-fledged, like have been working with all the big conglomerates who are trying to set up their business in the state right now. We are
Okay.
working with JSW Cement, we are working with Adani Group, we are working with Reliance Group. So, I mean, the exposure here also is, the multicultural experience that we get from shipping, helps here a lot because there are multiple stakeholders from the world. Sometimes foreign investors also come, so you have to interact with them also, and you have to do projects with them also. So, I mean, all those experiences in shipping are helping here also. And, in future also, I'm looking forward to continue working in the public sector only.
So, any final tips from your end for anyone who is feeling stuck on board and wants to move ashore?
My final words for of for someone who is moving wanting to move ashore or probably think they are stuck is probably is thinking that don't feel that you are stuck. I mean, you are evolving. It's a continuous process. You are not stuck anywhere. Just make sure that you are doing whatever time you have on board, you make 100% of that. Try to interact with as much as people as you can. Try looking into other areas also. Try looking about studying about finances. Try studying about corporates, about startups. Do all those things while you're on board when you have time on board as well. And I mean, it's not difficult. It's not difficult if you do it rightly, if you structure your application process, if you structure your GMAT process rightly. It is not that difficult. You could probably, it takes 2 to 3 months good preparation for GMAT, and then for application process, you can give yourself good 4 or 5 months. So that's the time that you require. I mean, ideally for a good application process. So plan early. I mean, when plan your contract such like that, because I also did this. I gave my GMAT, went back on ship for one contract, and came back. That helped me financially as well, and
Yep.
the program was also better planned, aligned like that. So start planning with those. Start looking at the curriculums of the colleges that you are looking into. I mean, what kind of subjects do they teach? That will help you, in identifying the skills that you need also. I mean, you can start
Okay.
reading about those. You can start reading about accounting. So look into colleges, their curriculums, plan your transition, and I mean, don't panic. I mean, we have done, as I said, most toughest jobs. It's just that we are
Yeah.
changing the sea. Rest all remains the same.
Okay. Then very well said. I think anyone who really wants to know about ISB or plan their MBA journey, this should be quite helpful for them. And yes, if anyone has any questions in the future, I think they can always reach out to you. And
Obviously. So that's what I mean. As I said, as I mentioned earlier, the merchant navy community has been
yes,
very helpful for me to make this
yes,
transition, and
yes,
I wish to be helpful for others as well. So
yes,
yeah, definitely. Any questions anybody
yes,
has, feel free to reach out
yes,
to me.
yes. Thank you for taking out your time on a weekend and doing this.